In July, fishing restrictions finally was lifted and we were allowed to go out fishing again. So I decided to go to Rietvlei Dam. Obviously that time of the year it's bitterly cold, and Rietvlei, known to being very cold, lived up to its reputation of being seriously cold. And I endured all of that, and I sort of went through the motion of doing a little campaign at the place. And I decided to fish the place for a week on end. And I thought that if I could introduce bait on a spot, little bits of bait, that I might be in with a chance of catching a real good fish, because there are big fish in that place. And I was really eager to just get a bite. You can imagine, especially after that long time that we sat at home, we couldn't go fishing. I was just so eager to get a fish on the line, and I badly wanted to catch something. It's like 5 minutes drive from my house. With my Gauteng fishing license, I was allowed to fish the place at the time. And every morning I would go to the same spot, and luckily I found the same spot open every morning because I was there so early. So I managed to get a bit of bait into the water on the same area, and I was feeling really confident throughout the day. Throughout my time that I was fishing there, I thought that, you know, the bait being in the swim every day, just feeding a little bit of bait, mixed particle and some ground bait, on a nice distance of about 120 meters from the bank, where the water was 4.5 meters deep, I thought, you know what, I'm in with a good chance here. And to make a very long story a bit shorter, it never materialized. Nothing happened, and the venue just got the better of me. I had time on my hands, and like everybody else, I was on social media. And as I surfed through my social media, I came across photos of good friends of mine that were catching big fish, nice, beautiful carp at Hartbeespoort Dam. And at the time I thought, you know what, I'm eager, just so eager to catch a fish. I spoke to some of my friends and I thought, I'm going to try and fish Hartbeespoort Dam myself. So Edouard and I headed out there for the first trip. It was during the week, nice and quiet. The water was looking very nice. It looked really fishable. And I thought, this is it, we're gonna do well here. We're gonna get some fish here. So I decided to put a big bed of bait down. I used the slingshot. Edouard helped me. I made balls of ground bait, nice big balls of ground bait laced with particles containing maize, tiger nuts and various other particles like hemp seed and stuff. All the carpy bits, you know, the things that the carp really like. And I introduced these balls of bait on that spot, nice and accurately on that plateau. And I was actually feeling really confident going into the first night. The next morning I was up super early. I watched the sun rose over the dam, like I always do, because I like to be up at that time of the day. Even though it's bitterly cold, I like to watch the water for activity. And most of the time, that time of the day is when the carp show themselves. And that's the types of things that you have to see and recognize in order for you to gain confidence in the area that you're fishing. I never saw a thing. I never saw fish rise. I never saw a fish jumping, breaking the water like they usually do, even in the winter, which was a bit concerning, because I thought, you know, if I can see some fish, then obviously you can angle for them. But at the time, nothing. It was dead, flat, calm. And the second morning, the same thing happened. I woke up early. I tried to watch for signs of fish. I couldn't see any signs of fish. Needless to say, I blanked that session. I blanked 3 days in a row. What I did do on that trip is I did a bit of homework. So I went walking up the bank, and some friends of mine or people that I know fished a totally different spot off to the right between the boats inside the marina. And I was amazed to see that the area that they were fishing was actually much shallower. It was like 9 foot. Needless to say, the day we left, I made sure to make a booking. So I made that booking, very eager to catch a fish. When I arrived there, the spot was open. I was feeling good. Everything was feeling all right. I set up camp first, made sure to get everything in place. I went out in the boat with a fish finder to check the depth, check the areas, check the spots everywhere. I had a bit of a tip off from some of my friends, the areas where they fished, although I knew the fish was moving through that whole area because of the depth. It was much shallower there. Prepared the baits. So at the time I was fishing spinner rigs, on helicopter rigs, little pop-ups, not high off the bottom, and just, it's actually quite basic fishing. 2 handfuls of particle over the top and that was it, game on. So the first bite came only about an hour into the session. So when that first rod sounded, I was like a little kid at Christmas, okay? So I grabbed that rod, I picked it up, we jumped in the boat, headed out. I didn't even think about size or anything. Played the fish, got it in the net, and it was a beautiful little 5 kilo fish. Nice, respectable carp to get the blank off my face. And even that fish made me so happy. I was made up just by catching a fish at the time. So not 15 minutes after that first fish, the middle rod screams off. And I run there, I pick up the rod, and I can feel, as I'm standing on the bank in the dark, I can just feel this fish pulling and pulling, and I just knew I was onto something really special.
Oh my word, we're going over 40 pounds. Okay, there we go. 33.5 pounds, my biggest fish ever, my new personal best, and I worked so hard for this fish. I'm just over the moon, I'm just so happy. Thanks for everybody here that's sharing the moment with me. This is heavy. This is heavier than lifting 15 kilogram in the gym. Come on! Okay, there we have it. 15.2 kilogram, 33.5 pounds. Hartbeespoortdam. Thank you so much.
So that big fish, I actually caught that fish off a spot that I found myself. It wasn't a known spot that I got tipped off by someone else like the other 2 rods. And that was the result. You know, sometimes you just got to go with your gut feeling. With years of fishing behind your belt, you sort of, there's a feeling, a good feeling that evolves inside you. And when you get that feeling, you must trust your instincts. And that's what happened. And I managed to catch that beautiful new personal best of mine at 15.2 kilograms. What a fish. So after that fish, I managed to land a nice mirror and a couple of smaller fish. But at midnight, I decided to call it quits. I was up early that day, so I was just feeling so tired. I took out the rods and I went to bed a very happy man. You can imagine, I just caught a 15 kilo PB. The next morning, I was up very early again, eager to get the rods out. And that day proved to be very fruitful. I caught big fish, nice fish, nothing quite as big as that fish. But all in all, a very nice day, a very good day. We were super busy throughout the day.
Just caught this beautiful 21 pounder. Just look at the color on this fish. Look at where the head and the back comes together, this hump. Absolute beautiful fish. All of these fish have distinctive features that make them unique. This one is dark. It's got an absolute massive mouth there at the front. It engulfed that 15mm white pop-up. It's just beautiful. I absolutely love catching these fish. It snagged me up a bit there on I don't know what. It wasn't the cable, but there's some kind of snag. But luckily, my tackle was up to the job, and I managed to land this fish. But I'm gonna get it back safe now.
As the sun set in the west, I was sitting on this same chair of mine behind my ridge monkey, cooking some dinner. Felt like I was going to fall asleep straight after dinner. So what I did was I decided, you know what, that evening I'm going to have an early evening, and I just decided I was going to go to bed early, freshen up so that I'm fresh the next day, full of energy and ready for what was laying ahead. We got up early again. The weather was lovely, you know, you're in the mood for fishing straight away.
Another absolute beaut. and someone's trying to phone me. I haven't posted these fish on any social media, so I don't know why anyone's phoning me. But how can you not be happy? How can you not be happy with a fish like this? We're just having an unbelievable session and I'm so thankful. This is amazing, and I urge everyone and anyone that wants to come and fish here after we've fished here now and seen this footage, please look after these fish. This is what we all want to catch, and we want to look after these fish. These are trophy carp. There we go.
Beautiful fish. I got close to that PB. I caught 2 fat 14 kilo carp, really nice fish, and a couple of others in between of about 12 kilos. I remember one was 12.8. We were so busy, the fish were having it. If we put the rig out, come back, by the time we do the third rod, the first rod is away. It was a really good day of fishing. Obviously very tiresome. I remember myself and Tobias had breakfast at like 3 in the afternoon.
After all the action this morning, it's finally time for breakfast now. And I just checked, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what I call fishing at its finest.
We sat there making bacon, eggs. I even remember we had some English muffins with nice strawberry jam. Proper breakfast at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Awesome day, awesome fishing, such a lovely time. Next morning we woke up, we were so relaxed. I mean, by the time you can imagine, we've caught so many fish by now. We've got all the stories that we need for the magazine side and for 4 Anglers, the platform. On the last day, I decided to make a bold decision to change my rigs. And for all of that information, check the 4 Anglers link below. So little did I know that this bold change that I've made would have an immense impact on my fishing. So all went very quiet. So contradicting to the action that we've had the past couple of days, catching lots of fish and big ones too, nothing happened. So all of a sudden, I had this run and I'm onto this fish. Now I can't really put pressure on this fish, otherwise it would kite left or right, snag me up and maybe cut me off. But all the while I'm holding this rod, the fish is just running like crazy. So it's taking lots more line than any of the other fish that I've caught.
Just broke my PB again with this fish. 17.4 kilogram, 38.5 pounds. Very close to that 40-pound barrier. But this is an amazingly beautiful fish. Caught on that hinge stiff rig, on that pink Almond Supreme pop-up. Amazing. I'm so happy. I don't even really know what to say. I mean, this is a massive, massive carp. Thank you so much.
That to me was just the absolute perfect way of ending this whole fishing trip, this whole campaign I had throughout the winter, struggling at Rietvlei, struggling again at Hartbeespoort, and then finally it all came together, and this was just the cherry on the cake. Literally, I know it sounds super cheesy, but this was the cherry on the cake. Catching that massive carp, I'm so privileged and I was so happy at that moment. Absolutely made up with that fish. Can't imagine myself catching that at the start of that session, but you know, all things come good if you work hard at it, and this proves yet again, never give up, never stop. So that brings us to the end of our winter campaign and a very successful trip. If you'd like to see more of this, more information about fishing in general, log on to www.4anglers.co.za. Also log on to our YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you again on the bank sometime.